Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss the upset being reported on the part of British holidaymakers who seem upset that Irish travellers are getting preferential treatment at border control. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So the basics in these reports are that several thousand passengers missed their flights at Madrid airport over the Easter holidays. There are concerns that the same will happen this summer, of course. The problem is down to huge queues at passport control. Then came the killer line, quote, "Some British passengers claimed Irish citizens are getting preferential treatment." They put preferential treatment in speech marks as if to say, look, we're just passing on the comments reported on, we're not treating them as objective fact. But it is objective fact. Irish travellers are getting preferential treatment. Of course they are. All legal and above board. Reason being, and this will come as no surprise to regular viewers here, Irish passports are EU passports. Madrid's in the EU. British passports are not EU passports. Madrid's not in Britain, you see. There's a reason why loads of British passport holders who were eligible for an Irish passport have been applying for one over the past few years. As I've mentioned on quite a few occasions, it is now much more valuable than a British passport for both work and leisure. In fact, an Irish passport gives you more freedoms in Britain than a British passport. But never mind that for now. I want to talk about where it would be nice for this to lead, because there will be some whose obvious reaction to listening to someone claiming that Irish travellers are getting preferential treatment in Spanish airports being, well, duh. Do you think that might have something to do with Brexit then? But consider it from their point of view. I think we can safely assume that any British tourist stuck in a massive queue at passport control and seeing Irish travellers waltzing through the much quicker route would only complain of this preferential treatment if they weren't making the Brexit connection. It's really this simple. Some people didn't expect to face downsides to Brexit. Certainly not personal downsides. It might even be a lot of people. It's not that people weren't told about the downsides of Brexit. They were just also told not to believe them by political leaders. No downsides of Brexit, only considerable upsides. That's what David Davis said, the first Brexit secretary. Well, thought Remainers, what's going to happen when Brexit becomes reality and Project Fear becomes Project Here? We may have imagined that this would start to happen quickly, especially with a hard Brexit. Softer Brexit that just meant, say, losing membership but remaining in the customs union single market would have been way easier to hide. People and businesses wouldn't have lost out nearly as much. It would still be worse than membership, because we'd lose our say in the rules that we'd have to follow. But we'd still get the benefits of freedom of movement, easier international and domestic trade. But a hard Brexit came with consequences that hit everyone, very quickly, very directly. And this issue of travel problems could be quite powerful. I've said before, Labour have promised closer alignment with the EU if they win power, essentially in order to get your economy growing and a necessary first step on our way back to international relevance. But they've also ruled out a return to EU membership. It's not a big problem right now because it will take so long that none of the current Labour leadership team will be in place when we go back anyway, no matter what they say. But they also dismiss freedom of movement. This is more unfortunate. Not just because it's an essential element of rejoining the single market, but because it's something you can really sell the benefits of. People in this country came to think of freedom of movement being for foreigners moving around Britain. They didn't stop to think it also meant their freedom to move around Europe. And yes, there are some sad, spiteful little goblins in this country who would rather deprive themselves of freedoms if it means others lose out. You know, if you say to them, but you're losing these freedoms, they'll go, yes, I don't care as long as others lose them. People who will suffer themselves as long as they perceive others to be suffering more. But most people aren't like that. They don't really have anything against freedom of movement. They just didn't care enough about it to stand up for it because they thought it was an issue for other people. Well, missing your holiday flight thanks to this freedom being lost might refocus some people's attitudes. After all, break it down. What's the beef with freedom of movement? Are they really bothered about foreigners coming over here to go on holiday in Britain? No, that's good. Well, what's the issue? Well, it means they can come here and take our jobs. Of course, this has been shown to be a lie. We can't actually cover vacancies that used to be taken by foreign workers. Where are the British workers to do these jobs? Why didn't employment figures shoot up after Brexit? Why are we struggling to get workers into key sectors? Why are we now more reliant on imports because our own production has been hit badly due to a lack of workers? It's all rubbish. In chasing a trade deal with India, Boris Johnson's now saying, do you know what we need? We need a load more Indian workers in the UK economy. As I spoke about ages ago, this will be the price for a trade deal with India, issuing loads of visas to Indian workers. And it will be good for us, no doubt. We do need more foreign workers. Boris Johnson's right. It's just odd to hear the king of Brexit, Brexit getting done anyway, saying so. What do his acolytes think about that? And if the Prime Minister is talking about the need for loads more foreign workers in Britain, we come back to the question, what do we have against freedom of movement? Now, granted, the trade deal with India is not giving freedom of movement to Indian workers because there'll be a visa process. But that's red tape. If we need lots more workers, why don't we make it easier? They always talk about getting rid of bureaucracy. Why don't we get rid of it? Freedom of movement for European workers does that. The European workers would be free to come over, do the jobs that actually we can't. You know, is that really a problem? Then ask, what are we gaining from this policy? What do we gain? Although Boris Johnson tries to claim that the number of people in work is above pre-COVID levels, he's lying. It's been called out as a lie by fact checkers, by our own statistics agencies. We're well down. We do not have enough workers to get our economy back up to where it was before Brexit and COVID. Other countries have done that. The UK alone of all advanced nations has not. Russia may come unstuck as well this year, but that's due to their only slightly different way of crushing their own economy. We've already had over a year's worth of trade data that shows Brexit is killing us. The cost of everything is rising above the level of comparable countries. People are coming back from other European countries saying how the shelves there are fully stocked, and they come back here and it hits them. They hadn't really realised it before. They looked at the supermarkets and they got what they could, but they go to another country and see their supermarket shelves and it's that comparison that hits them. But this isn't resulting in a big sea change amongst the public. They're not seeing it. They're not reading the reports. But a lot of people travel. In 2019, there were 72 million visits from the UK to other European destinations. Now, that's not all Polish plasterers going home to visit family. A lot of this is holidays from Britain to Spain, Portugal, France, Italy, Greece, and so on. The number of people who will be seeing the consequences of Brexit hit them is huge. They just need a tap on the shoulder and to be told, this is because we refuse to accept freedom of movement. You see those Irish travellers that are just waltzing straight through there? That's because they've got freedom of movement. Do you remember how Priti Patel boasted about taking away our freedom of movement? You stand here in this line for hours in a Madrid airport and then miss your flight. You tell me she was right to boast about that. That's what people need. A little tap on the shoulder and just to be told that. We could still have left the EU and enjoyed freedom of movement. We'd have cheaper food, no shortages. We wouldn't be missing our holiday flights because we're stuck in a queue for passport control. So let's start the conversation now, because it will be even better when the biometric checks come in later this year. Going anywhere is already a pain in the arse now. We're seeing reports of that. It's going to get much worse yet. If the media reported on it properly, people would already be demanding their freedom of movement back. But they're not, and they won't. Politicians won't either. So it's down to the rest of us to make it clear there are two types of people at passport control. Those who have passports which grants them free movement around that territory, straight through. And those from a third country. You see that line that goes back there? That's where you're going. And it's not just the EU. This isn't EU rules. This is how it works everywhere in the world. It's just that you don't have anywhere else in the world where you can actually have free movement across virtually the entire continent. We had it. We chose to give it up. We can get it back. Easy as pie. We don't have to wait until we're back in the EU. That'd take years. With the best will in the world, that's not happening anytime soon. But we don't have to wait until we can get freedom of movement back. We don't even have to wait very long to get back into the single market. We could have our freedom of movement back in a matter of months if we wanted it. Of course, once we have that, there really are no more arguments for not actually rejoining the single market then we can get loads of other benefits too. The benefits of Brexit were always lies. They don't exist. But there are benefits of rejoining. And we can see those because we knew what the benefits were. That's not speculation. We had those benefits a few years ago. People struggling to go on holiday can see it. They just need someone to point it out. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button. And until next time, I'll see you later.